Hello, and welcome to our introductory course on the Scrum Body of Knowledge, or the S.B.O.C. Guide, a definitive guide for Scrum and the rules for the game. In this session, we will look at the processes that are part of the Plan and Estimate phase. We will also discuss the key inputs, tools, and outputs associated with each of the processes. The processes that are part of the Plan and Estimate phase are Create User Stories, Approve, Estimate, and Commit User Stories, Create Tasks, Estimate Tasks, and Create Sprint Backlog. Plan and Estimate phase, as defined in a Guide to the Scrum Body of Knowledge, or the S.B.O.C. Guide, is applicable to the following: portfolios, programs, and/or projects in any industry, products, services, or any other results to be delivered to stakeholders, projects of any size or complexity. Before we discuss the processes in detail, it is important to remember that although all processes are defined uniquely in the S.B.O.C. Guide, they are not necessarily performed sequentially or in isolation. At times, it may be more appropriate to combine some processes, depending on the specific requirements of each project. Let's begin with understanding briefly each of the processes that is part of the Plan and Estimate phase. The first process is Create User Stories. In this process, user stories and their associated user story acceptance criteria are created. User stories are usually written by the product owner and are designed to ensure that the customer's requirements are clearly depicted and can be fully understood by all stakeholders. User story writing workshops, which involve Scrum Team members creating the user stories, should be held. The developed user stories are then incorporated into the Prioritized Product Backlog. The next process is Approve, Estimate, and Commit User Stories. In this process, the product owner approves user stories for a sprint. After user group meetings, the Scrum Master and Scrum Team estimate the effort required to develop the functionality described in each user story. And then, the Scrum Team commits to deliver the customer requirements in the form of approved, estimated, and committed user stories. Another process that is part of Plan and Estimate phase is Create Tasks. In this process, the approved, estimated, and committed user stories are broken down into specific tasks and compiled into a task list. During this process, a task planning meeting is held to facilitate creation of the task list. Next process is Estimate Tasks. In this process, the Scrum Core Team uses task estimation meetings to estimate the effort required to accomplish each task in the task list. The output of this process is an effort-estimated task list. The last process that is part of this phase is Create Sprint Backlog. In this process, the Scrum Core Team holds sprint planning meetings to create the sprint backlog containing all tasks to be completed in the sprint.